The situation was such that my parents, malab, sometimes they have to make a choice who will eat the food at home.
Oh my God.
Cool jobs, and most jobs were
used to go to
captured by.
leftist.
It will be like you have to be a CPM party cadre, then you will get a job. Or it was like basically on a bribe or something like that, right? And the problem with my parents was that they never would pay a bribe.
She got a job then.
She got a job because she applied in a village where nobody was applying. When I wanted to study law, my father cried. In his mind, lawyers are like, all very bad people.
Acha.
They sit under the tree in high court and drink tea all day and typewriter like बैठे रहते. It's not possible. It's all rigged against you. You cannot do it. It's only for a certain kind of people, certain kind of lucky people, either genetically lucky or, parents has money or whatever. Like this kind of messaging is there. And I call it cult of negativity. In top institutes in this country in electrical engineering, they teach you how to repair a black and white TV. And the challenge of the professor is where the hell do I find a black and white TV?
Till date.
Yeah. You know what people from Howrah tell me? They're like, we can't believe, like in that particular place, where the only option to succeed in life was to be a teacher or an engineer, or you can build a business and do this. Somehow I had developed this thing very early in my life कि सब जिस तरफ जा रहा है वो अच्छा कुछ. Like if there's a crowd going in one direction, it cannot be a good option. Now in my mind, the image of a government officer and a government job was very, very bad. Even if it is IFS, IAS,
Because your father
that was never at
because
all.
your parents
Because of
were-
my father, right? When I came to Gurgaon, it was all still a startup hub. Lot of startups in Gurgaon. Now they're all moving to Noida because Gurgaon is so expensive. जब हमने 1 करोड़ की रेवेन्यू कर लिया, उस समय एक बार एक स्टार्टअप इवेंट में गया. वहाँ पे तो हमें ऑलमोस्ट इंसल्ट ही कर दिया कि आपके बिजनेस जो है ये
चलेगा नहीं.
चलेगा नहीं ना, ये लाइफस्टाइल बिजनेस है. If you start something from the point of view that I am Ahmedabad, मैं तो कोई भी कोर्स पे अपना छापा लगा दूंगा तो बिक ही जाएगा. नहीं बिकता है भाई. Reality है. We had like 50 people working with us. I told them that look, I'll not be able to pay your May salary.
Okay.
Today is let's say 8th or 10th of May. Go find another job. Don't waste your time.
Achha, you said that. And then?
So मैंने बोला नहीं होगा 5 लाख तो बंद ही कर दो. द लास्ट डे टू एनरोल, बैच इज क्लोज. भेजा वो मेल, एक दिन में 5 लाख का आ गया. मैं उस दिन बॉम्बे में था. एंड आई एम लाइक ये
कैसे हो गया?
You imagine that this is possible in the world, and it does not matter how many people say no, this is nonsense, this is not possible. It does not matter. You can make it happen.
Welcome to a day forward. A day forward एक ही चीज करता है, आपको एक ही दिन में आगे ले जाता है. Today we have a very special guest, and more than special, I'm very proud because my relationship with this guest started as him being my coachee. Like I used to coach him, and we continued that relationship. It culminated into friendship, and it's going on very well. He's someone who started his life from a small place near Calcutta, went through many, many difficulties, lot of hardships, did his law, and then launched his own company within 1 year of doing a job. That company right now has its own IPO. It's worth more than 250 crores. It has 700 employees across 10 different countries, and all 700 of them work on a remote basis. His purpose is very clear: to give people opportunities to find themselves jobs, to find themselves employment opportunities. It's a great story. It has not been an easy journey. It's been a tough call, mentally, physically, emotionally. But he's fought through all of them. So if you haven't been inspired yet in life, this is the next 2 hours where we will be superbly inspired. So everybody, let's welcome Ramanuj Mukherjee, CEO of LawSikho. Ramanuj, in 1990, when you were maybe 3.5 years old, as far as I know, your parents were fighting hard to put bread on the table, right? And today you are employing 700 people, and I think every year about 45,000 people study your courses and have an opportunity to get jobs. And I think more than 40,000 have already gotten jobs. And you have an IPO. So how does this contrast feel?
So I think everyone has an origin story. So in my case, my origin story gives me strength and gave me a purpose.
Okay.
तो स्टोरी ऐसा था कि जब मैं तो मेरा मामी पापा बेसिकली जब मेरा बर्थ हो गया तो जॉइंट फैमिली था उस समय. तो
This was in Calcutta.
this was in a place called Uttarpara near Calcutta.
Okay.
Like Hooghly district.
Okay.
Like 1 hour distance.
Okay.
So my grandfather had settled there after getting retired. And the family was there. Like it was a joint family, 3 brothers. And the grandfather. And so what happened is that my mother wanted to have a second child after me.
After you.
After me. So I have a sister, and she was very clear that she wants to have a second child. And my grandmother was very much against it because her concern was that my father does not earn enough.
Okay.
So anyway, my mother had my sister. And then my grandmother finally told my father that you should move out because your earning is not enough to, look after so many people. So my father his ego was hurt. So although he was very much, didn't want to leave the joint family, but he's like, okay, I will do it. And so they moved out. Like my father had a government job. He was lower division clerk in Government of India Press. It was a funny job. I'll talk about it later. But basically, his salary was not enough already, apparently. And then once he moved out, it was 1990 recession. It was one of the worst economic crises in India.
Inflation was very high.
Inflation was crazy. This is the time when Manmohan Singh went abroad with all our gold to get a loan from IMF. And we changed our economic policy from socialist to capitalist. And so, but it was a very bad time. Good things happened later, but that itself was a very bad time. There was runaway inflation. Suddenly, the situation was such that my parents, sometimes they have to make a choice who will eat the food at home.
Oh my God.
Like there were times that my mother made that choice. Like, she will pretend that there is food and my father will eat and go to office, and then she'll feed us, and then she will stay hungry or manage with some, random stuff and stuff like that. I even remember there was a lake nearby.
You remember this period?
Yeah. So she would even harvest some molasses and stuff like that to cook and make sure we have enough protein and stuff like that. And it was really bad. And one of the things that I still remember is that very frequently the electricity will be cut.
Okay.
And we will
because of non-payment of bill?
Non-payment of bills because they couldn't pay the bill on time, and it will be cut. And then it will be once it is cut, you have to pay a fine also. And it'd be even harder. Like sometimes we'll go without electricity for 3 months, 4 months.
Wow.
And during winter, they didn't even bother. They were like, only in summer you really need the fan. Otherwise, it's very difficult to survive in sultry heat in Howrah. That West Bengal, extremely humid, extremely hot. Winter mein they didn't even bother. Like it's okay, doesn't matter. We don't need a fan. Chalne do. We used to survive on this lamps. Hurricane and lamps and all of that. So this was the situation. Between the age of 3.5 to till I became 5. When I became 5.5 years old, my mother finally got a job in a high school.
Like she was trying for a long time?
She was trying before she got married. 7 years she tried very hard.
7 years?
Yeah, 7 years job hunt. So it's that's also actually, that's how I guess my mother's life story influenced my life story. So she had 3 degrees at that time. So her belief was that if she just gets enough educated, she will get a job eventually.
What 3 degrees did she?
So one was BSc,
Wow.
And then she got a degree in B.Ed, thinking this will get her a school job.
School job.
Then she wasn't getting a job. So she did again a Bachelor of Physical Education, another degree. That, okay, this is more specialized. At least now I'll get a job in high school or something like that. And she wouldn't get that job. And it took her like 7 years before she got a job. And that also, and there's a very clear reason for this. You know, so sometimes people ask me, why are you so much against leftists?
Acha.
And so if you see my...
And Bengal was ruled by leftists.
So ruled by leftists back then. In fact, when I was a little younger, I was still leftist. Like, you know, when I was in college and all, I was not leftist, but there was a leftist thinking somewhat in me. But now I'm like very much against it. So what happened, my mother's story is that, so at that time, school jobs and most jobs were captured by... It will be like you have to be a CPIM party cadre, then you will get a job. Okay. Or it was like basically on a bribe or something like that, right? And the problem with my parents was that they never would pay a bribe. So that is also out of the question. And in her family, there was somebody who was not associated with Congress. And she was like, even like not associated with this person much. But even because of that, just the fact that there was this connection with somebody who was associated with Congress, that was enough reason to disqualify her. Like literally CPIM leaders would go and influence the selection committees that don't hire her because she has in her family somebody who's to...
And we think the party politics is so heavy right now.
No, yeah.
It was so bad.
So bad, yeah.
Then she got a job then?
She got a job because she applied in a village where nobody was applying. And
because it was far?
Like, it's like you had to take it was morning. Like she had to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, catch a train, and the school starts at 6 o'clock in the morning. And she had to walk like 15 minutes, half an hour from the train station, almost in the dark in that time, right? And nobody wanted that job. So, but she got that job and she did it. Like she was like, this is it. This is my chance. Like she didn't care that this was tough or whatever. And the positive side was that she used to come back home because of morning school. She would come back by 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock.
Okay.
But it was like 1 hour train journey every day. And so once she got her job, things got better. And like, you know, in our family, like, you know, food wasn't an issue. Like basic education things, you had to buy a book or something wasn't an issue. We used to always run out of money before the month will be over. Like somehow, first of all, my parents were bad at finance. Like they were bad at investments. Like even if they were able to earn money, had a job, both of them had a job. So we're not very uncomfortable after that. Like basics were not an issue anymore.
Yeah.
But they were really bad at managing their own money. So they wouldn't know, like, you know, how to invest. In fact, my parents taught me...
Or there was no awareness.
Right? So my parents taught me that never keep money anywhere other than FD.
Okay.
Mutual funds is scam. Share market is anywhere big scam.
But at that time, even my parents, you know, at that time, most people, this is what they knew.
Yeah, but inflation was 10%. So any money they saved, they were losing. So the interest rate is 7%.
Malum nahi tha na?
Yeah, they were losing money faster than
your mother's this 7-year job hunt. Is this the reason that you have built the business that you built of providing people jobs or helping people get jobs?
So to be honest, ऐसा कोई plan करके नहीं करा था. I didn't know that this is how it would turn out. When I started my business, it was more like catering to my own itch in a way.
Okay.
That I was, you know, I worked in a law firm.
So you studied?
So I studied law. इसका भी बहुत अच्छा story है. When I wanted to study law, my father cried. Okay.
Achha, it was your choice and your father wanted you to do engineering.
Yeah, engineering or science or maths or something like that. So look at my name. My name is Ramanuj. So I was born in 1987, which was birth centenary of Srinivas Ramanujan. And both my parents were like maths aficionados. It's not like they are like maths genius or something. At least my father had studied some higher maths and calculus, and he had
That's
a real
what he
brain
wanted
for
you
maths,
to.
So they named me after a scientist, basically a mathematician. So my father's idea was, and my mother's also in a way, like, see, actually my mother didn't care so much. So like, you will be a scientist. or a mathematician or something like that, like theoretical physicist or something, right? Now, actually, that was my father's dream. And while I was good in maths, good in calculus, good in physics, I really liked. Out of chemistry, I never liked. Organic chemistry, I hated. In maths, trigonometry, I didn't like, but I liked calculus, right? So I had other maths I liked, and physics I loved. But so what were the career options where I was growing up back then? So there are two, somehow, I don't know how, but two career options that were, if you are doing well in studies, either you become a doctor or engineer. These are the two things. Engineer also, what engineer? Nobody cares.
Nobody
engineer,
cares.
right?
Engineer.
And I didn't even know what all things are there in engineering and what is the difference. There was no information, right? But whatever marks you get in joint entrance exam, based on that you will get whatever
You will get
branch
whatever you will
and
get.
do it, right? Engineer is good enough. So what happened is that I realized when I was in class 9 that everybody in my class is going to be engineer. Everybody. It's very clear. And IT. Mostly. People are clear. They'll be whether government or private, they will study engineering. And I was like, ठीक है, सब लोग कर रहे हैं तो मुझे नहीं करना है. Somehow I had developed this thing very early in my life कि सब जिस तरफ जा रहा है वो अच्छा कुछ. If there's a crowd going in one direction, it cannot be a good option in my mind. So कुछ अलग ही करना है. तो अलग क्या हो सकता है कि मेडिसिन, मतलब ठीक है डॉक्टर बनेंगे.
डॉक्टर
तो प्रिपरेशन शुरू कर दिया. एंड आई वुड प्रोबेबली वुड हैव क्रैक्ड द एग्जाम आल्सो द वे थिंग्स वर गोइंग. अब क्या हुआ कि आई हैड हर्ड फ्रॉम समबडी दैट लॉ में इंटरेस्ट, देयर आर सम इंटरेस्टिंग करियर पॉसिबल इन लॉ. क्या होता है, तो दैट पर्सन गेव मी वेरी रॉन्ग आइडिया एनीवे. ही टोल्ड मी कि bad thing about being a lawyer is that you have to mug up all the books. You have to remember all the case law and all the case law तो नहीं पता था, but basically बहुत चीजें memorize करना पड़ेगा. Which I hated. I didn't like. रट्टा मारना तो कभी अच्छा नहीं लगता. इसीलिए inorganic chemistry में problem था. तो anyway, तो I said कि तो I used to.
And good thing क्या बोला उसने?
Good thing उसने बोला था कि you can influence the society, you can save innocent people, all of that. So वो अच्छा लगा था और सुना था कि कुछ अच्छा हो सकता है, मतलब कुछ अच्छा करियर हो सकता है.
क्लियर आइडिया नहीं था, बट
कुछ भी आइडिया नहीं था, बट लॉ का करियर के बारे में स्लाइट क्यूरियोसिटी था.
ओके.
कि पता नहीं कुछ अलग है. ऐसे तो हिस्टोरियन में भी ऐसे ही, मतलब सम एनीथिंग न्यू
वो ना इंजीनियर छोड़ के कुछ और बना दो.
मतलब पैलियोंटोलॉजिस्ट डायनासोर के फॉसिल ढूंढते हैं, वो भी तो इंटरेस्टिंग है. मतलब इससे बहुत ज्यादा कुछ पता नहीं है, बट ठीक है, साउंड्स इंटरेस्टिंग. सो देन व्हाट हैपेंड इज दैट I never went to any career or any career event. So there was a career counseling event in St. Xavier's College in Calcutta, which I saw the advertising.
So you thought,
and I went. It was like a calling, right? So I just went. Ki bhai, I should go there. I went there, and there was a guy on the stage who is an entrepreneur.
Okay.
Who had started a company called Law School Tutorials.
Okay.
To think of it it's really one of the first entrepreneurs in legal space that time. So, and what he was doing.
What was his name?
His name is Sachin Malhan.
Okay.
Even now he runs an organization called Agami, which basically helps other people be entrepreneurs in that space. So in the legal space, legal and justice space. So I saw him and he said, this is a different kind of college. National law universities are there. You have mooting. People go abroad to argue, and there are mooting World Cups and whatnot, right? And then. People are working in United Nations, somebody is working in Supreme Court. So मुझे वो United Nations अच्छा लगा. You can be a diplomat after studying law. ठीक है. तो then he had told me about one concept in that session which I really liked, which is that lawyers know the language of power. What is language of power?
Okay.
So he gave us this example that if you are driving on the road and a constable or some traffic police stops you and says that you have jumped the light. Okay? What would most people do? You will say, no, I have not jumped. You have not jumped, but he stops and says, what will you do? What are your options? Right? You don't know. If it is a lawyer, the lawyer will know what to say and how to say it. And exactly, and this has happened to me, by the way. Like, real life happened to me later, many years later, in Saket.
You were stopped.
So I'm not driving. I had a driving license, and getting driving lesson. Police stops and says कि आपको फाइन देना है, आपके पास तो ये तो ड्राइविंग लाइसेंस तो एक्सपायर कर गया है. So I had checked कि there was a extension by default all driving license are extended learning license because उस समय जो ये था मतलब there was what is this pandemic, there was a lockdown, so they automatically extended for 6 months. So it was not written in my paper, but it is by a notification extended. So I tell the guy, he's like नहीं ये सब कुछ नहीं है, आपको तो देना पड़ेगा. ठीक है. So I said कोई बात नहीं, आप चालान कर दो, हम कोर्ट में दे देंगे, आ जाओ देख लेंगे. ठीक है. And I didn't tell him that I'm a lawyer.
Okay.
He's like आप lawyer हो?
He understood.
Like हाँ जी. I don't practice, so I didn't tell him that, but I'm a lawyer. So that's what, like, that's the because
language of power.
Language of power, because you know exactly how this is going to play out, and you tell the guy. So normally, if you go to the police station and you say that I want to file an FIR, maybe you have a genuine case.
Complaint likhenge.
They'll I will not.
They'll take time.
They'll be like, please, will not take. What is this bullshit case? I will not take it. आपके पास क्या proof है? ये है, वो है. And basically will discourage you from filing a complaint, because जितना complaint file होगा, if they don't solve it, it adds on their track records.
Their targets and track record fall.
Track records are affected, right? So or their work, paperwork ही होगा उसमें. आपने तो एक complaint दे दिया उनको 50 paperwork, उसके पीछे as per government norms करना होगा. So they don't want to. They don't want you to do it.
But if you say
now, what is a normal person will do? They'll argue with them. नहीं आप कैसे कर सकते हो, मेरे साथ ये हो गया, आपको लेना ही है, ये है, please sir ये कर लो, वो कर लो. If it is a lawyer, if I am there, I'll say ठीक है सर, कोई problem नहीं.
आप मत करो फाइल,
मैं process में कर लूँगा. I will just say this word. I'll follow the process. If I say this word, I'll follow the process.
He knows you're a lawyer.
He knows that is language of power. He knows what it means. He knows I will go and write an email to the SP or police commissioner, and next day I will go file in the magistrate's court. Magistrate will call him कि आपने क्यों नहीं file करा? क्या reason?
And his record will be.
Nothing will happen to him. But then he is like, यार और काम paperwork तो बढ़ा ही दोगे. उससे अच्छा यहाँ कर लेते हैं. Then he will listen to you. Now. And you don't have to beg him to get the work done. That is language of power. So what he said is that imagine that the world is there, it's hardware, and the law and rules are software. Okay, hardware तो कुछ भी कर लो, software से बहुत कुछ determine होता है.
Change किया जा सकता है.
हाँ, तो if you know the software, that is the language of power, and you learn it, and you can learn it only if you're a lawyer.
That's what attracted you.
I said ये तो बहुत बढ़िया है. I want to learn this. So then I went and told my father that I want to study law.
What did he say?
He was incredulous. When he realized I'm insisting, he even cried.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, my son will be a lawyer. In his mind, lawyers are like, all very bad people.
Achha.
They sit under the tree in high court and drink tea all day and typewriter लेके बैठे रहते हैं.
स्टैम्प लगाने के 50 रुपए लेते.
हाँ, right. So and like very bad people. मतलब उनका काम ही है दिन रात झूठ बोलना और लोगों को झूठे केसों में फंसा के कुछ इस तरीके की चीजें करना. तो he's like my son. I thought he will be a great mathematician. कहाँ से ये फिजिक्स मैथमेटिशियन नहीं तो कोई फिजिसिस्ट, कुछ इंजीनियर ही बन जाओ. इसरो छोटा मोटा कर लो. ये क्या
इसरो छोटा मोटा.
हाँ, उनके लिए ऐसे ही है. That is how he would say, right? So that's how it is. And so he was like, ये तो you have shattered my dreams. And I was like, no, आपके dream आपका, मुझे कोई मतलब नहीं.
And you did law and you.
So they were like, we'll not help you. Like, you have to write WBJE ये वो. I'm saying मैं तो form ही नहीं भर रहा. So there was a full blown civil war at home, right? So my parents are like, नहीं. So they were sure कि it is like a fad. They will somehow bring me back to that medicine thing or engineering or whatever.
Your sister helped you?
My sister?
At that time?
No. She said nothing, and
she was young.
She was young, and she was like I think she was observing and absorbing, but she didn't have a anything to say about this whole thing. So what happened is that, so
You got a job, you said. At
yeah,
a
yeah,
law firm.
no. So what happened that time, I told them that if you don't let me study law, like they're like, we'll not let you fill the form. The form cost whatever 1,500 rupees. You don't have it, so you are not going to be able to give the exam. And even after you get this thing, will like you'll not be able to. You'll
Pay
not
the
be able to
fee.
study it unless we back you. So you have to study what we ask you to study. And I was like, no, that will also not happen. I know what I'll do. So my alternative is this, that I'm not filling the joint entrance form. You cannot make me write that exam. So I will like pass the 12th exam, and after that I will study English literature in a local college. And then my alternative plan is to become WCS, like I will write that civil service exam for the state, and I know I'll crack it. But you will not get what you want if I don't get what I want. So this is what it is, and I will even not. So they were like, घर से निकल जाओ, हाँ मैं निकल ही जाऊँगा. And I'm ready, and I made my whole plan out. मैं कहाँ रहूँगा, मैं ट्यूशन दे के पैसा कमाऊँगा, सब clear cut plan. So when they saw all of that, they were like, ये तो नहीं हुआ.
Serious है.
Like we can't force him to choose. And then also my mother started
Understanding.
My mother started changing her mind. When she saw that I'm very determined, she started backing me. Then my father had to fall in line. He didn't have much option.
Two against one.
So yeah, so it worked out. And to think of it now, that I think, would it have been very terrible if I studied medicine or engineering? Probably not. I could still be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, it would have been the same.
It would have been like I would have figured out. But you never know what journey life takes you on. But I would have been an entrepreneur and I would have figured out. But this is also good. But what happened is that, see, my parents' plan for me was that I'll be बोल तो रहे थे कि अच्छा ठीक है mathematician.
But they wanted you
But
elsewhere.
कम से कम Infosys में engineer बन जाएगा. That is the bare minimum, right? तो
Plan सही थे.
Plan वही एकदम सही plan
So
था.
you were saying something about that during your job at a law firm, something happened.
Yeah, so basically I went to a top law university, National Law University, and that year I had ranked 2. So this was my second attempt. I had ranked 2 in that national admission test for NUJs. And once I went to the college, there were a lot of struggles. One was regarding language, because I always studied in vernacular medium, Bengali medium schools. And there everything was in English. And I couldn't speak properly. And so there are a lot of things happened in college. Like I realized that money matters. Before that, it was like, because I heard and I learned that hard work matters, your integrity matters, your intelligence matters. If you're good in sports, that matters. Money is not important.
Simple living, high thinking.
This is what my parents taught me. And like that's also teachers, everyone. Like that was the middle class environment we had all around us. In fact, money is a little bad also. Like money is not be scared of rich people, be careful of rich people. Rich people can be very bad, all of that, right? Now, suddenly, it's a very different world, because national law universities, most of the people who would be studying, at least what I saw, in very highly privileged people.
Acha.
One of my batchmate once lost 75,000 rupees in the hostel.
In your hostel?
In our hostel. Like somebody stole 75,000 rupees. 75,000 rupees is like it's like
7-8 lakh rupees today.
Like and that money is like, I can't believe it. Like my laptop was 25,000 rupees. Right? So 75,000 rupees is like
a lot of money.
Like our first year entire, anyway, like it's like more than my college fee. Like it's a lot of money, right? And that was how it was. Like, first day we went to college, everybody went to the Park Hotel in Calcutta to celebrate. And I'm like, क्या बोल रहे हैं? तुम तो टैक्सी में जो शेयर होगा वो पैसा भी नहीं है मेरे पास.
At a nightclub.
Yes. So
someplace else.
Yeah. Tantra, someplace else, Roxy, all this. So anyway, so basically that was the scene. And so we started realizing that money matters. Someday something called social status and all of that. Took time to learn all of that. But anyway. So college in college I did very well academically. and extracurricular, everything did fantastic, everything great. But when there were literally multiple law firms were like chasing us after the day zero, like many offers. So we had to choose where we would go. By that time, I already knew I'll be an entrepreneur.
Achha, you had
But I
decided.
wanted to work for a year in a law firm.
But what made you decide this, that you'll be an entrepreneur? Because you wanted to be a lawyer. You got attracted by the language of power. What made you decide that you want to be an entrepreneur?
So I was always trying to figure out what I'll do. So my initial idea was that I'll be a diplomat. That gave me an inspiration. So I studied hard for the law entrance, did whatever I had to do. Once I got in and I learned more about this diplomat business, I realized there are two ways I can be a diplomat. One is that I have to be a politician, like Ram Jethmalani was a diplomat. He was India's ambassador to US. Right? Now, if you want to do that, one is that you have to be somebody like so influential, politician, and you are a political appointment. That's one option.
That is one.
The other is you have to be an UPSC. You have to clear UPSC and be a government officer. Now, in my mind, the image of a government officer and a government job was very, very bad. Even if it is IFS, IAS,
because
whatever.
your father
was never
because your parents
because of my father, right?
And
my mother also,
well.
but mother was still, I had a little more respect for teaching in a school. But I had no respect for what my father was doing. And the reason is this. I mean, he's a great guy, but look at the job, right? So he used to go office at around 12.
Around 12?
There was no in time because there was no real work in the office. And this was a huge campus. This is like a 50-acre campus, which is a Government of India place in Santargachi. It may be 30 also. Like as a kid, everything seems bigger than
it is.
But it had its own railway line.
Own railway line?
Yes.
Going through the campus?
In the property. So that, and it had like massive warehouses. Right? There were many, and like they had like tons and tons of paper lying in ponds.
In ponds?
सर रहे थे वहाँ पे, हाँ.
वो लोगों के कागज होंगे वैसे.
मतलब गवर्नमेंट की है, मतलब वहाँ पे प्रिंट नहीं. Machines everywhere, machines lying like in the open, like rusting. And it's a factory, it's a press, right? It had no orders for a long time, and all the people who worked there had no work. My father, who was a clerk, his job was to maintain the medical leave cards and medical leave applications of all the other people. And casual leaves were handled by somebody else.
Wow. So much of work.
So at 4 o'clock, he would just leave because he had nothing to do there. Unless, there was some union meeting or something like that they requested him to stay back. He'll just leave. There's nothing to do. And I'll tell you even more funny stuff. So during that time when all this, my father used to earn about 1,000 rupees per month, 1991. Like that was his salary. 1,000 rupees, 1,100 rupees, right? Something like that. And government wanted to shut down
the press
and relocate the people into a place in Delhi. There are places in Delhi also. I think 2 of them are there. Even they are not non-functional.
So I'll tell you, my grandfather and my father are from the printing business. And we are aware of this press in Calcutta. And a lot of people, because their factory was in Narayana industrial area, so a lot of people from that industrial area used to buy second-hand presses from this factory.
Yeah, makes sense because so what will happen?
The rusting ones.
Rusting ones, yes. And that would also be sold on the black.
Yeah.
They'll pretend that it just right? Yeah. So they were offered that instead of we'll give you a salary hike of you get the next level of promotion which you'd never get in your life otherwise. You will get it automatically. Just move to Delhi.
Just move to Delhi, okay.
Move to Delhi and work here. There is work here. There is nothing there. So that we can close it down. So you're getting a promotion.
And a salary hike.
Right? You just have to move to Delhi. Okay. Do you know what they did? Including they struck work.
Huh?
There is no work, but they did a strike.
And they didn't move to Delhi.
Protest so that they don't want. No.
Oh my God. That's why they used to say, I hate to say it, but Calcutta, they used to say it is very tough to get work done over there. Especially in those days.
Yeah.
Is that the same now?
It's not much better.
It's much
better in some sectors. But if you want to do manufacturing, you're screwed.
That's why there are no manufacturing places there.
I know people who have done, like somebody I met recently who was a success in manufacturing. But it's hard. And hard and very risky.
So I'll tell you something, a little story around that. So I used to work with a direct sales company and I was sent to Calcutta. Because somebody who trained me, and then there was somebody who trained the person who trained me. He was a Sardar Sikh person and he was shifted to Calcutta, and that office wasn't doing well. So I was in charge of whichever office used to not do well, I was sent there. So I was sent to Calcutta. So normally when we used to put in an advertisement for a job, we used to get like 10 interviews in a day. In Calcutta, we used to get 100.
Yeah.
I was very excited the first day. I said, oh my God, so many interviews. I can't even handle these many interviews. So I was taking 2 to 3 at a time, and I was telling my that person, that the other manager, I say, you also interview. I will also interview. The receptionist will also interview. Out of 100, so if we used to do 10 interviews here, we used to get 3 people. That is 30%. Out of 100, only 5 people used to land up next day. And out of 5, only 1 person will take up the job. And out of the 10 people working, like with 10 people, the sales we were doing in Calcutta, that we could do with 1 person in Delhi.
Yeah, sure.
I'm talking about 1995. That was the situation. What's the reason behind it, given you're from that region?
Bengalis have done really well outside of Bengal. Like, you go anywhere I'm sure in Gurgaon, everywhere you see that. Right?
Very well.
So the problem is that there are 2 things. One is that there's a huge political climate. It does not matter who is in power. The leftist brainwashing has been so bad. It's almost incredible. Like, people have no respect for hard work. There's all kinds of grifters, like all kind of shadow businesses that are there. People are, anyway, talented people leave. Businesses are not there. So you can't run a business. So for example, I know people who started a restaurant in Calcutta. Next day, somebody comes and says, you have to pay us this much money, otherwise we'll not let you do business. And then they're like, oh my God, what? This is not making any sense, because the kind of money they're asking for,
it doesn't make business sense.
Doesn't make any business sense. Even recently, one of my colleagues, so you work remotely, right? So says he has a BSNL connection at his home.
Okay.
For broadband.
Okay.
And it sometimes malfunctions. So I'm like, why why BSNL? Like, you
Jio.
get like Jio, Airtel, ये सब ले लो. हमारे area में है ही नहीं.
In Calcutta?
In Calcutta. Proper Calcutta. Okay? South Calcutta. I'm like, what? How come not? He's like, actually, the politicians here asked for money. If they have to put the optic fiber here, so much money the politician asked for that it is not, those companies are not finding it viable to put the optic fiber here.
Oh my God.
BSNL, they cannot say anything. So BSNL has its optic fiber. This is government company.
And it functions the way it functions.
That's how it is. So that's why BSNL is getting business there, because none of the private companies are entering because of this situation. Now this is there now. Now this level of corruption in everything
used to be.
Yeah, there's somebody who told me that he had started a manufacturing this thing. So when he started manufacturing, local leaders came to take some money from him, saying that you should donate some money to the local puja committee, whatever, something. So they're okay. He started. So there's a gap between when you install the machine and when you actually start operating. When he started operating, those guys came again, said, now you're operating, you should pay us a little more. Okay?
They're saying my money is yet to come. He's saying.
Then there was they started saying you have to hire our people only. Those people are not skilled. But no, you have to hire our people. You don't do business in our area without hiring our people. So soon the business became unviable in all this. Like 2 years, the guys pumped in money, something happened. Then he was like, boss, नहीं करना मुझे ये, I want to go. Now he tried to shut it down, Again,
But that
those
also
people
the
came, give us money to shut it down.
Oh my God.
Otherwise, we'll not let you take the machine out and sell it.
Oh my God. Is that the reason why you do remote work?
No, not really. See, now there are few things, right? So, this is a case with manufacturing. This can be the situation with a warehouse, trading. Okay, I have met people who are really good at handling this. I know somebody who's trying a thriving manufacturing business near Howrah. And I asked him, did this happen to you? I said, yes, it happens.
But I know I can.
So this guy is now the leader of that area.
Oh my God.
Okay, so he went there, like, when the first time they went and bought the land, started cleaning the land, and like some 200 people came with motorbikes. That where is our money? They do that. Let's show off power. Now, if you are there and you're not used to it, you will get scared and run away. This guy says, no problem. Where is your club? Where are you? What is it? Let me go and see. Then he goes there. He's like, do you have like a annual schedule? What all things have? What all activities do you do? And those guys are like, what? So like, I will fix all this for you. Let's work together. Okay. And then now they have a proper clubhouse. And these guys are making like,
I know.
5 crores a month. So he doesn't mind. Like, he's like, chalo, let's sort it out for you. Like, and so not one, there are 4 clubs there. He funds them. He's the president of each of those clubs. Now all of them look up to him.
So he's figured out a way.
He has figured out a way to win-win. Like, but it's not everybody's cup of tea.
I know.
Right? Everybody can't do, not even, like, a lot of people wouldn't want to do a business in that scenario. Or maybe he got lucky also. We don't know. Right? Then it also depends on who else you know. If you can get a certain calls done, etc. All of that matters.
So in college, you decided you'll be
so
on your own.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, just to finish on this, if somebody wants to run a software business, let's say in Sector 5 in Salt Lake, that's a different thing. There probably you will not have so much interference on all of that. Or a services export business and stuff like that. So those still are doable from there. But there can be other issues. You may not find clients there. You may not find skilled people as much as you would find. People have built great businesses global business out of Calcutta also. So it's not like impossible. But services business is easier. Manufacturing would be much harder. And also depends on where exactly you are.
I was asking that in college you decided that you're going to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah. So I wanted to be a diplomat. Then I realized that, government job, based on all the backstory, right? So realized that this is not my cup of tea to go into government. Like, I don't want to. Like, honestly, I felt like if I go to that, and I think I was correct, my creativity will be stifled. My independence is not there. It's like whatever your boss says, government says you have to do. You can't be in government. Can't be in government job any other way. So I said, okay, what do I do? So that time there was a big hype in college. I mean, even now, corporate lawyer. And I read some good books about the New York Wall Street law firms and white shoe law firms, what kind of work they do, M&A lawyers, M&A hostile takeovers,
merger and
acquisition. So it was like, wow, this is great. So I want to be a corporate lawyer. I want to be a deal maker in this kind of context. So I want to do this. And it was a very good place. I was in a very good place to be a corporate lawyer. The top law firms, even from other countries and within India, would recruit from our campus.
NUS,
We could intern with the best law firms and all of that. So we were doing that. And so when all of this was happening in 3rd year of law college, 2 things happened. I watched a movie which is The Social Network. It's about Facebook.
Social Network, yeah.
Okay, so if anybody has watched it, you see that there was a guy in college who starts building Facebook. And
I know. So Facebook.
Social network, right? And so I figured out there are startups and it's so exciting. If you remember, there was this guy who's the founder of Napster, right? Who was mentoring Mark Zuckerberg.
Correct.
He gives a lecture about how all these new businesses are happening.
I remember the movie very well.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, so this is great. I also want to do it. But how? Like, anyway, there's no access.
No access.
Then there was one day on Facebook. So there used to be Facebook events, you could see what events happening around you.
Yes.
So somebody from our college had marked that I'm going to this event called Startup Saturday.
And this was back in
This is
2009.
2008, 9. 2008,
Hmm.
not even 9, 2008.
Hmm.
So, so I said, okay, I'll also go. So I went there
Hmm.
into Sector 5 next to my college, like a 10
Walk-in.
minutes walk, no, 10 minutes auto ride.
Okay.
So I went there and I saw there was one guy talking. So he was from IIT Kharagpur, recently graduated, and he was raising money. He built a data protection software.
Okay.
So I heard him, I heard him, and when he walked out, like after his speech, he walked outside to have a smoke.
Hmm.
So I followed him and I told him about the new data protection rule in 2008 had just come out. He didn't know about
He
it.
didn't know about it.
So I told him about all of that, and he gave me his card and said, keep in touch. So normally if you get such a thing, you don't keep in touch.
Huh.
Lord, I used to read about data protection. I used to read. I was a voracious reader. So I will come across some articles about data protection rules, something happened in somewhere. I'll just send it to him and say, hi Vikram, this may be useful
to you.
Please take a look. I did this a few times, and I think 5-6 times in a month, right? Then the guy replies. He was not replying in the beginning. But I didn't think anything.
You're sending emails.
Anyway, I'm sending him something useful only. You know? So he replies back saying that I want to meet you, come to our office. So he thought that I'll be good in sales, which is true.
But you didn't know that at that time.
I had no idea. So he was trying to recruit me. I didn't know that he's trying to recruit me. He's like, come to our office, let's meet and all of that. So I went to his office.
This was in Calcutta.
This is in Calcutta, 2008. So Sector 5. So another thing, this guy used to live in a residential building. And there were like 5 of them. They were building this software startup. They used to live there, party there, and during the day work very hard. So if you went to their workroom, the whole wall was covered with like sticky notes, which shows their product roadmap. So I was like, okay. So I started going there like, often and like seeing what they're doing. Started helping them with some legal stuff and all of that. And then I really liked it. I'm like, this is it. Like, these guys are building a startup, and they raised some 2 crores that time.
Okay.
And I helped them in that. They had some bad contract with IIT Kharagpur incubator. We helped them to sort it out. And I really got into it. I'm like, yeah, I want to do this. Again, like, what will I do? The problem was that I don't know how to code. These guys are technical guys, engineers, right? I don't know how to code. I can't do anything. I started writing a blog. At least I can blog. So I never let it come in my way that what I can't do, that's okay. What I can do, let me do that. So I started blogging. I started going to events. I started trying to build a services startup where I would do legal risk management for companies. And all that. So got some success. I don't want to go into great details. They were really fun stuff. A lot of learnings. I ended up working with L&T.
Okay.
Like somehow, like, I was very interesting. But then it was like, yaar, law firm mein to kaam karna chahiye. I got a job in the end of my 4th year.
With a law firm.
With a law firm. We got many offers and selected one. But I knew कि ये तो startup ही करना है. तो but clear नहीं था कैसे करेंगे क्या करेंगे. At least go and
do a job
for a year to see, because I want to also see what is this law
firm. You were exploring everything.
थोड़ा तो idea लग जाए. 1 साल तो कहीं पे काम करना चाहिए. 1 साल is grossly like too less. But that's what I thought. At least इतना तो होना चाहिए. And very interesting, when I started working, I realized that for all the hard work I did in college, we had no preparation for the real work.
How?
So we were, in every subject, they'll make us study all the statutes and case law. Statute is like there'll be some act, act of the parliament or some state legislature or mostly parliament. And then there would be regulations. We didn't study much of that, just the acts, some of the sections. Then they'll make us study some decisions of the Supreme Court, High Court, something like that. And that's it. We did not learn how to draft contracts. We did not really learn
actual practical work.
Actual practical, nothing.
Nothing was
nothing.
And like, this was
so for example,
this was at a top
at one of the best. And even now, in the best of the best, there's nobody teaches
no practical knowledge.
No practical education. And it's not just law, by the way. Later on I realized same. Engineering also same. In top institutes in this country in electrical engineering, they teach you how to repair a black and white TV. And the challenge of the professor is, where the hell do I find a black and white TV?
Till date.
Yeah. This is your practical.
Super. That's why your company is running. You should thank the education system.
No, I don't thank at all, because you know what? Education is such a thing. Whatever is the base, you start from there and
From
teach
there
something
only,
more,
yeah.
right? So even if somebody knows electrical engineering well, there will be some scope to teach something more. I don't have, it's not
Absolutely.
my business. I used to think, no, it doesn't depend on that. There is always a deeper level of skill, right? So even if you are great at sales, look, who do you think buy more courses on sales and marketing? The people who are good at sales and marketing. They understand the value. Do you think somebody who knows no sales will buy a course
Never.
on sales? Never. Exactly.
Never.
This is what people think. They don't understand when they, they think कि अच्छा जिसको पता है वो क्यों खरीदेगा course.
No, there are a lot of people who ask me, if I love training and development and I read or learn myself as well. So a lot of people ask me, आपको क्या ज़रूरत है? So I said, मुझे ही सबसे ज़्यादा ज़रूरत है.
Yeah, you understand the value of it. Other people don't understand the value.
Absolutely.
So yeah. So anyway, so we are diverging.
Did you finish your 1 year or no?
I finished my 1 year. Exactly 1 year. Abhyuday and I both left.
Abhyuday is your co-founder,
right? So in Abhyuday, so the story with Abhyuday, this is actually an interesting story, right? So the first person I met in college was Abhyuday.
And you met him in college, not at the law firm. Okay.
First day, so I arrived at the college with my own table. So I had a table I used to study on. I carried it to my hostel, okay? Yeah. And we put it into the lift and took it to my room was in the 5th floor.
It was given to you by your father?
The table? No.
Acha.
I had bought it.
Acha.
So the funny thing is that I left my house before I had to go to hostel. So the first chance I got out of my house and started living away from my parents. So that there I bought a table, and that table was my most important position.
And when you reached, you met Abhyuday.
So I took it out of the lift, and then somebody had to take it to my room. So I was there, and my cousin sister was there. She is a little not the best person to carry a table.
Okay.
So there was Abhyuday. He was filling his water bottle, and I'm like, "Can you please help me?" So he helped me, and then I realized that rooms are next to each other, and the reason for that was that our rank was next to each other. My rank was 3, he was 5.
Oh.
So my rank was 2, he was 5. And our roll numbers were next to each other because of that.
Okay.
And because of that, we got
and
the other people, the 1, 3, 4 didn't join. They went to NLS and Nalsar.
So you influenced him to be an entrepreneur?
Not really.
Or together, it came together.
So the interesting part of the story is that, so while we were there, because one is that we were next to each other. Second, we bonded over our childhood traumas. So basically, his childhood traumas and my childhood traumas were very similar. Right. So because we bonded over that, and we realized that we became very good friends. We were best friends in college. So most of the things we used to do together, right? And we will write papers together. We will study for exams together. We went for moots together. We went abroad. We went to Scotland. Abhyuday also went. So generally what would happen, I'll do more adventurous stuff. We both went to Scotland. I went to on hitchhiking trips, which he didn't, and couch surfing. He went to normal tourist places in normal way. But yeah, so that would be the case with us. We'll do a lot of stuff together. And when I started doing blogs and stuff, he also would do it. He was not very sure. He started going to Startup Saturday with me in sometimes and all of that. But yeah, so he was a little unsure back then. But I clearly remember that we joined the same law firm in the same office. Although we had different offices from different law firms, we planned it that way because we live together, work together, and eventually do startup together.
Wow. How many years together now?
2006 we met.
18 years.
18 years.
Then where did LawSikho start?
So what happened is that we were working together, and it was, I think, the month of May or something. So the first 6 months working in a law firm, after 6 months, I was positively depressed. I never felt so bad in my life. So generally my style...
You didn't want to kill that guy Vikram, or what was his name? The guy who came on the stage and enrolled you into being...
No, not at all. Sachin Wala, no. So what happened is that I was like, I was working in this law firm and I was depressed. So major reason was that what I realized was I was working very late every night till 3 o'clock, going home. But I realized that I was working that hard. It was not the fault of the law firm. The work that was given to me was hard but reasonable. Actually, it was not even difficult. It is just I was making too many mistakes. So they would send it back and say, do it again. And the entire reason was I was completely unprepared. I didn't never learn to do this work. If you are going to do M&A, merger and acquisitions, did we learn the FDI policy of India? No. Did we learn how to do due diligence? No. Did we even know what are the different kind of deal structures? No. Did we learn the relevant provisions of Companies Act? No. What did we learn in college? Like, it was very, very superficial, anything that we learned. And then the idea is that you are smart, you will be thrown into the ocean.
And then you learn yourself.
You learn yourself. If you sink, not a problem. And every year we'll hire a lot of people. Some people will swim, some will sink. It's okay, doesn't matter. So in my case, what happened was that I was used to being a champion wherever I went in terms of studies, work,
and
moving, whatever. Right?
Here you were
Here
depressed.
It was like, yaar, ye to kya hai? I have done my own deals. I used to, by the way, I used to make 80,000-90,000 rupees per month myself. Like the salary here
Outside
was same only. On my own, I used to earn that much, and I could earn more outside. And in a law firm, is like, I'm earning good money, but I am a nobody here, and like it doesn't feel like. So see, you become successful when you're already well prepared. You know what the rule of the game is, how to do it, where you have to put in the effort, how to do it. You do well. That was not the case here. I don't know how to play the game. So I was feeling very bad. I was getting scolded by seniors. The whole experience was very bad. So 6 months later, one of my professors, Shamnath Bashir, he came and he said, he met me and said, you look depressed, what's the deal? And I'm like, yeah, I don't like this. He's like, this is not meant for you. You're meant for much bigger things.
Acha, he said that.
He said, you're meant for much bigger things. Move on and start doing your stuff. I'm like, okay. So then next morning I woke up smiling.
You were happy that somebody's recognized.
Not recognized. I knew what I have to do. And I had to just save money enough. So I had to pay my education loan. So it was supposed to be paid in 5 years. I paid it in 6 months. I saved all my money and just paid my education loan down immediately. No mercy. All paid in no time. And I used to pay 60-70% of my salary into education loan every month. Then I saved some money. Then my mother said, Are, you can't leave I told my mother I'm leaving the job. I'll do my own startup. She's like, Are, no, you can't leave. We have to build a house now. This was our dream. You had said.
What did your father say at that time?
So at this point, my father and mother doesn't even talk.
Acha. At that time, she wasn't telling him.
Anyway, he'll not give money. They're on. So they are having very bad fight. So my mother is like, no, you have to help in this. So I had saved some 2-3 lakh. I gave her. I told her, don't do this. It's not worth it. Right? And it has proven to be true because she's living there, but she doesn't like to live there. And anyway, so she took a loan. Again, bad financial management. She took a loan and built the house. And her entire savings went into it basically. And so anyway, so I gave whatever I had saved. So the last month's salary check, 1.2 lakhs. That was my entire thing when I quit my job. There's nothing in the bank.
Rest was all gone.
All gone. I gave it to my mother. I sold my bike and gave it to my mother.
No, but 1.2 yours and 1.2 Abhyuday's as well.
Abhyuday didn't have that problem. because he didn't have an education loan. He had, I guess, I don't know, like, he didn't have a financial problem.
Financial
I had like a serious financial issue. So that 1.2 lakh would have lasted me exactly 3 months in Bombay. If I didn't earn money after that, I had to find a job. Right? So I couldn't continue doing the startup. So the first thing was that how do I extend this runway? I have 3 months. How do I make it 4, 5, 6, 7? So that I can keep pursuing. So I started doing some, I used to write articles.
Okay.
I used to draft somebody's contracts just to increase that
Your runway.
So that I don't have to quit my startup dreams.
So at that time when you started the startup, it was you and Abhyuday, two of you. And what was the name?
It was iPleaders.
iPleaders. And what were you doing in that?
So what had happened, I had the foresight in my 4th year, 5th years at some point. We put in a proposal with our university NUJS that all of these things you should be teaching XYZ things, practical skills, which is not taught to us.
Okay.
Then if you do that, it would have a very big success. And this is a time for online courses. It is actually, we said it is a time because the whole world was not doing online courses back then. There was hardly Coursera, something was the initial days of online courses. There was University of Phoenix in the US. But we started convincing them that IIT, IIMs are also doing, you should also do online courses. And so there were some nice professors who said, "Okay, alumni want to do a project, experiment, let them do it." But they said, 2 conditions: you have to quit your job and do this full time. Second, we will not give you any money.
Okay.
Whatever money you make from there, you
do this.
Like you can take a cut. Like we'll take a cut, you will take a cut. So finally they arrived at this formula that after all the cost is paid, you take 50%, we'll take 50%.
We'll take 50%.
We'll do nothing other than giving the certificate. You take care of all the work and the financial burden. If it fails, it is your problem, not ours. Okay, let's do it. So that's what we did. We quit our job and started.
What courses did you build?
So we built a course called a Diploma in Entrepreneurship, Administration and Business Laws.
Okay.
And this was a 12 module course where we taught 12 different areas of law that everybody in business should know. We initially thought businessmen will buy it. If we pushed really hard, some businessmen bought it. But lawyers started buying it in large numbers.
Because they didn't have anything like that in their...
Yes. That was a little carve ball for us. We thought we'll sell it to business people. But lawyers started buying it. Like, boss, forget businessmen.
This is our target audience.
So my number was very clear. 20,000 rupees we're charging for this. I had to sell 500 in the first year to do 1 crore. I sold 500.
Wow.
There were initially 2 of us. Then at the time, the person who I was dating also joined us to help. Because we couldn't recruit. And my biggest problem that time was that we have 1 crore rupees in the bank, which initially was in NUJS's bank, and then they started paying the cost after 6 months. So when I had money in the bank, I couldn't hire because nobody wanted to join a company of this 2 like very young, evidently extremely young people running a company.
What were your age at that time?
23.
23.
22.
After the 1 year, 22 you started, and after 1 year, 23.
23.
Nobody wanted to join at that time.
Nobody wanted. Abhyuday 22, I'm 23. And 1 year experience. And also we were running business out of like out of our apartment, right?
In Delhi.
In Bombay. In Navi Mumbai. So initially I was in South Bombay. I could see Antilia from my window. It was like a very nice old, very 1700 square feet huge old Mumbai apartment, right? So then we rent control also. Then we moved out of there and went to Navi Mumbai to save money. Because I was paying there 50,000 rent. 2 of us together, it is too much. We found a apartment for 17,000, which was
your office come home.
The hall was the office, less space than this.
Okay.
And 2 rooms, but we had a good view of the Kharghar Hills from our Nerul apartment.
So that's where IPleaders was.
That's how it started, right?
Okay.
And it had a beautiful balcony. That was a place we could sit.
What made you shift to Delhi?
So it was to keep the team together. So what happened is that, this beautiful apartment. So one of my best times in life that I consider, looking back, was this Navi Mumbai 6-7 months only. We were there. So we used to wake up in the morning, start building the core, start doing whatever sales, whatever work was there, support, and then we will go down to have tea. Down the hill there was a South Indian shop. There we'll have tea, dosa, whatever, and then we'll go back again, take a walk. So happy, right? And just working and doing this. Then one day Abhyuday's parents came and they're like, what are you doing here? Why can't you come to Delhi and stay there? And I think that time Abhyuday's dad was not doing well health-wise, and he said, you have to come here. And so Abhyuday said, yeah, I have to go. My dad is not well. And I had this foresight that if I don't move now with him, the company will break up. And it is important that we work together. So I moved to Delhi. I moved everybody. The nice thing that Abhyuday's parents did for us that time was that they got us a small office, like 100 square feet office in J Block Market in Saket.
In Saket. Okay.
So we used to sit there and work. So it kind of like, instead of a apartment, we started working in an office.
It was a proper office.
It was a proper, very small but proper office. So I think that helped us to hire also a couple of people.
Having a proper address.
Proper address. So I mean, I guess very hard to say honestly. But yeah, so that's how we ended up in Delhi. I really didn't like Delhi. Like, I had an allergy to Delhi. Okay, so for example, when I was given an offer by Trilegal that you can either go to Delhi or... So they told me you go to Delhi. I said, no, I'll not go to Delhi. I'll go to Mumbai. If you have an offer from Mumbai, it's okay, otherwise fine.
But Delhi didn't have many strikes.
Like, what is the problem with Delhi?
Delhi mein strikes nahi hoti.
That is not the reason. So I'll tell you. So my first experience of Delhi is like this. So I landed from the train and I had to come to Abhyuday's home because I was going to stay there. Only for a day. But I'll come and stay in Abhyuday's house. So I get out of that time mobile phone. I didn't have a mobile phone. So I got out of the train station and there's a PCO booth. Right? So PCO booth that time is like 1 rupee to make a call. And it says also 1 rupee for a call. So I go there. I am lugging my bag, like luggage. And I'm like, can I,
make a call.
Make a call. So the guy is like, हाँ, लेकिन 10 रुपए. I'm like, क्यों? आपके यहाँ लिखा हुआ 1 रुपए है.
बोलते जीरो लगाया नहीं.
मेरे मर्जी 10 रुपए. Like,
that's why you didn't like Delhi.
See, for all you say in Calcutta, if somebody did this in Calcutta, that everybody will beat him up. Okay? So I understood. I'm like, okay. I went to the next, like I had to go a little farther and I made a call for 1 rupee only, whatever, right? But I was like, what kind of city is this? Like, people are like this, right?
And now how many years you've been living here?
I think, obviously in between 2-3 years I was away. But from 2013 to till now.
11 years.
11 years.
Yeah. The city hasn't changed.
Yeah, city hasn't changed. City has changed a lot actually from then and now. Like the amount of change that happened, like the power transfer and like the kind of change in the neighborhoods and the aspiration and the kind of people who live in South Delhi and here, everything has completely changed. When I came, South Delhi was a young urban center. Young people were larger in number. Today, all those areas are like a retired person's home. Nobody, like, retired landlords, government, people who work in government, only they live there. Everybody has moved to Gurgaon, or if they can afford Gurgaon, then Gurgaon, otherwise Noida. When I came to Gurgaon, it was all still a startup hub. Lot of startups in Gurgaon. Now they're all moving to Noida because Gurgaon is so expensive. So the way, like, I have seen Delhi, Noida, Gurgaon, and what I used to think of Noida in 2012-13 when I first started seeing these places. What I used to think of South Delhi back then, and what Sainik Farm was in 2015 when I first started moving there. and what it became by 2020. Everything changed.
Hmm.
And changed very fast. The change happened really fast. It's like unbelievable. Bombay hasn't changed like that.
Yeah.
But Delhi, Gurgaon, Noida is shifting so fast. I don't know where it will end up, what will be the equilibrium. But a lot of changes happen.
Ramanuj, from what I know of, is that you built this huge business and you took it to being an IPO. And you didn't have any godfather, you didn't have any family support in terms of money. And from what I also heard, that you did not take any money from any angel investors.
Yeah, any investor at all until we did IPO. There was one person who had put in like 10 lakh rupees, but by then we had crores of revenue, so it didn't matter.
Okay. So कुछ कहीं से कुछ भी नहीं लिया.
नहीं, कुछ
So
नहीं.
how did this journey?
No family money,
No family money.
own capital, nothing.
So what's the reason? Like what are the aspects you followed, or what did you do to get here?
So
Well, it's quite unheard of, not taking any money and reaching there.
So, actually, looking back, I think it was a blessing that we didn't end up raising money. And
But what was the thought behind it कि नहीं लेंगे पैसे? पैसे तो ऑफर हुए
नहीं,
होंगे.
actually वैसे नहीं है. कैसे हुआ? जैसे by the time we are doing 25 lakh revenue per month.
Okay.
ठीक है. तो एक्चुअली मल्टीपल टाइम्स हुआ. जब एनयूजेस के साथ काम करते थे, iPleaders था. जब हमने 1 करोड़ की रेवेन्यू कर लिया, उस समय एक बार एक स्टार्टअप इवेंट में गया. तो वहाँ पे हम लोगों ने पिच किया स्टार्टअप ऐसे. तो वहाँ पे तो हमें ऑलमोस्ट इंसल्ट ही कर दिया कि आपके बिजनेस जो है ये
चलेगा नहीं.
नहीं चलेगा नहीं ना, ये लाइफस्टाइल बिजनेस है.
हाँ.
इंसल्ट करने का बहुत ही अच्छा तरीका था उस समय. ये आप लाइफस्टाइल बिजनेस है, कंटेंट बिजनेस है, स्केलेबल नहीं है.
हाँ.
इसमें तो टेक है ही नहीं, क्या आप कर लोगे. ठीक है. अब ये सब ज्ञान जो लोगों ने दिया था, उनका खुद का फंड भी सब बंद हो चुके हैं.
हाँ.
वो छोड़ दीजिए.
हाँ.
बट दे वर लाइक दैट कि एक तो कंटेंट बिजनेस है, लाइफस्टाइल बिजनेस है, नॉट स्केलेबल.
How did you take it?
आई डिडंट एक्सेप्ट इट.
हाँ.
इट मेड मी फ्यूरियस. आई एम लाइक ठीक है, देखते हैं,
हाँ.
विल सी. दैट इज व्हाट आई थॉट. अच्छा, इसके बाद जब हम लोगों का ऑलमोस्ट महीने में 50 लाख रेवेन्यू हो गया उसी बिजनेस में, स्टिल वर्किंग विथ NUJS. That time there was a program by TAI where you could get mentored by Sanjeev Bikhchandani, who's founder of InfoEdge, Naukri.com. तो हमने अप्लाई कर दिया, हम सिलेक्ट हो गए उनके मेंटरशिप के लिए. उस समय अभ्युदय था दिल्ली में, मैं था गोवा. तो उन्होंने मुझे बुलाया कि गोवा से आया हो. दोनों पहले तो उनको डाउट था कि मैं काम कुछ कर रहा हूँ या गोवा में मस्ती कर रहा हूँ. तो मैं आया, मिला, तो दे लाइक हाँ ठीक है. तो so he introduced us to a legendary investor, Ashish Dhawan. So this guy was he heard first meeting he really liked. Second meeting he asked us a lot of tough questions. And one of his very interesting question was that Upgrade is selling courses for 3 lakh, 2.5 lakh. And why is your course so cheap? So NUJS courses were selling for like I think 30,000-40,000, something like that, 30,000. Like itna cheap, why? And then we had LawSikho back then, which was like whatever NUJS will not approve, we will put those courses
on a separate company,
without any certification, right? Those you had priced 3,000, 5,000. Like you are selling courses seems to be good for 3,000, 5,000. Only reason is that you don't have confidence in your own course.
Wow.
I was like, what the hell? I'm like, you don't even have a product that you can sell for 1 lakh. And he walked out. And I tried to justify, no. He walked out of the room.
Acha. Then?
So ठीक है. I felt bad, but I took that. That is one person, one investor's interaction. I think it was very smart and really good. I thought about it, that why don't I have a product worth 1 lakh rupees? Why can I not give that much value that I can charge 1 lakh rupees? So that is one thing he said. He had also said one thing that was prescient. He said that most of your revenue depends on NUJS. This is extremely risky. इसकी कोई value ही नहीं है. कभी भी ये पलट जाएगा. And it happened in a year. Within a year, it proved to be true. So And so I knew this. It's not like I was so. What used to happen if I try to diversify from NUJS will resist like hell. Let's say if in NLU Delhi I'm talking to somebody, or NLU some other NLU somebody talking, or some. So normally what will happen is that they will call NUJS people they know to take a feedback कि भाई कैसे है ये लोग, क्या है, टिस के साथ बात चल रहा था. So they will normally call, no, in NUJS. They'll know somebody at NUJS and will call, कैसा लोग है ये, कैसे है. They'll be like, no, very bad, don't work with them. And
NUJS used to say this.
Yeah, and then they will charge us that you cannot work with anybody without our permission. You only work with us.
And then?
So we're like, we're stuck. What do we do? We fought with them. We said, no, you can't stop us from having other things. There's no non-compete. But they would like try to sabotage because they were afraid. They don't want any other university to have what they have. Right? And not only that, they were trying to launch their own courses in similar fashion and tying up with other partners. Okay. None of which took off.
Wow.
Nothing took off. Like, they'll sell some like 10 lakh, 20 lakh ka revenue aega. That is hardly anything, like 30 lakh. We are doing 50 lakh a month. 6 crore. So NUJS in the last year, in 2017, they got, in the financial year, they got 1.5 crore pure profit from our courses.
From your courses. Wow.
And they had a budget of 6 crore. So out of that 1.5 came from us, right? And it doubles every year. So next year it will be
3 crores.
3 crores out of 6.
Wow.
And so we were also thinking this is very good. NUJS will at least appreciate and not bother us.
So did they appreciate?
No. They started thinking that all of this money should go to NUJS. We should get nothing. They're like, हमें 1.5 crore मिला तो तुम्हें कितना मिला? तुम्हें 3 crore मिला है. It's a different thing that we paid the cost out of that.
Yeah.
और या तुम्हें 4 crore मिला है, क्यों मिला है? तो सब हमें ही हमारे पास आना चाहिए था. And so they couldn't. So some cooler brains prevailed who told them, look, we are trying to build on our own. The day we build, we'll kick them out. But till then, why should we lose this money? So this is how it was continuing. And we knew that they won't be able to crack it. And in the industry also, all the other legal, other edtech companies were not able to. So our programs, our sales, our marketing, everything was unparalleled. So nobody could compete. All the other national universities also launched. NALSA launched, GNLU launched. But they could get nowhere close to us.
What is the reason? Like, what is your USP? And I'm talking from business principles point of view.
See, first of all, if you start something from the point of view that I am IIM Ahmedabad, मैं तो कोई भी कोर्स में अपना छापा लगा दूंगा तो बिक ही जाएगा. नहीं बिकता है भाई. Reality है. IIM Ahmedabad started courses. They said, any course, it will automatically sell. Then they took out, and they are marketing professors, IIM hai. Right? So they took out, so this is a story of another company, right? Not ours. So they took out newspaper ads. ठीक है, करोड़ों का newspaper ad लगा दिए. उसके बाद कितना sale हुआ? 56. They were thinking thousands of
crores.
Not thousands of courses will sell.
Which will be only 56.
But 56 people bought IIM Ahmedabad ka online course.
Wow.
Right? Then they went to this private company. Let's not take their name. I don't know how it will affect them.
That's fine.
So there is this only one company. They built a brilliant sales organization. You know this, right? You know what is the value of a sales organization, right? These people will sell like 1,000, 1,500 courses a year. And these are like 3 lakh, 4 lakh, 5 lakh rupees courses. Maybe 12 lakh, 18 lakh also. And they will sell like 1,500 of those in a year. They have nothing. They don't have course material. They just have a sales organization and lead generation. They will run the ads and they will sell. That's all. And they take solid 50%, 60% money for doing that. And initially all IITs, IIMs, Amity, Symbiosis, all the brand will say, हम क्यों देंगे? हमें नहीं आता. हमने इतना बड़ा चला रहा, इतना हमारा एप्लीकेशन आता है, हमें कुछ नहीं, ये सब जरूरत नहीं है. Right? Then they start. Then they realize
it's not the same as running a university.
Whatever it is. and then they all go to them.
Hmm.
Right? So this company have a 200 crore turnover, right?
Wow.
Right? And that is only their, not the GMB, like not the what the university gets. It is their share.
Hmm.
And they're the best. Even when we wanted to build our EdTech inside sales practice,
Hmm.
we started looking in the market that who's so good, like who should we learn from? It's not like they'll come and teach me, but we need some benchmarks, right? So I looked at them and like, this is great. We should learn from that. But I'm just saying that
If
is a
you're-
sales part, but there is also what you deliver as value.
Hmm.
Do you really deliver value?
Hmm.
इसमें तो बहुत ज्यादा अपॉर्चुनिटी है, क्योंकि
If you
अगर
deliver
यूनिवर्सिटी
value.
जब मैंने वहाँ पे पढ़ रहा था, मैं टॉपर था वहाँ पे, हाँ, तो वहाँ पे भी मुझे जो सिखाया, अगर वही सिखाएंगे, वो कौन से अनोखा चीज सिखाने वाले, वही सिखाएंगे.
Hmm.
So if I can innovate there, then how much I can teach, which is what I have built. Like, see, the revenue of LawSikho is there because we innovated there. We are allowed to do it.
But is it only delivering value? You got to sell that as well, na?
Yes, but both, na, you have to, your sales should not be ahead of your product or services.
Okay.
Right? And your product and services should
Cannot
not
be
like
fall
it's so
short.
ahead, but your sales sucks. Both way it does no.
Hmm.
So on both sides there is opportunity to do that, right?
So you're saying ki the principles you built on is that it doesn't matter if you have a brand name or not. It's important that you deliver value, and then you have a sales system which can match your product.
Correct. And what is the value? That is also a question. Is the value the content that you give them? Is the value how much services you give them? Like, do you really, for example, I think that if you want to understand EdTech business, you have to think of a gym.
Okay.
Okay. So you have a gym, you have equipments.
Either you can have a great equipment, great location, or a great trainer.
You can have all of that and still people won't come. They'll come. Now you can think of it this way, that that's okay. People come and pay on 1st of January.
And then they don't come.
Then they come for 7-10 days and they will not come for the rest of the year. It's okay.
But it's not.
Now it's okay for all gyms. It's working that way. But now you decide that I'll be different. I will make sure they come. I will call them. I'll chase them and follow up. I'll also give them more services in the same package. I will be the most value-added gym in the world. Or I don't know what else. Like there, you can do a lot, right? If you start thinking, there's so much you can do. Like we had this discussion about a co-working space.
Co-working
right?
space, yeah.
That what else can a co-working space do apart from giving a seat? Maybe you can give them SaaS softwares.
Yeah.
Maybe you can give them, I don't know what else.
Legal services.
Consulting and whatever, right? So much is there. Now, the more deeper you go, you can create a lot of value. And you can so then people will come for that. Others are not giving that. So I think that had always worked. And also I think fundamental thing is that we had a better understanding of the customer needs than everybody else. People were trying to sell what they had, and we were going and understanding what is not there, what people want, and building or what they need, and then building that. Right? Somebody saying that I want a course on sports law, but maybe there is no work in sports law. Should I sell that course?
No,
Do I want to be in that business? Or the work that is there, it can employ only 100 people in a year. Should I be in that business?
So when you are building a course, you are actually first looking at where there are more job opportunities and then build the course?
So,
is that the...
So I will explain to you. Okay, when I started from my personal experience that I went to a good college.
But I didn't have
got a
practical
good job,
knowledge.
And I struggled. And a lot of people quit at that point. A lot of people struggle. People suffer. Can I solve that? So what would solve that? I built for that. So I was building it for people who are in college and want to make a transition into a professional life.
Correct.
So, all the problem that happened with NUJs, okay, let me just mention that what happened, right? So, in 2018, a new vice chancellor came. One vice chancellor had to step down because of student protest. A new vice chancellor came. And one of the first things he did, he was a retired Chief Justice of Calcutta High Court. In his worldview, online course, first of all, what the hell is that? Secondly, you're a government university, you have a tie-up with a private company and they are taking revenue from this. Shut it down. Suspended immediately. And they could have stopped it in a proper way, but they just abruptly like cancelled everything, put up a notice, didn't give us a notice to stop, didn't follow the contract, didn't pay our dues. Overnight, just said all the courses are suspended.
How
And
much?
their thing was that let people go to court.
How much money was stuck at that time?
It was like something between 70 and 80 lakhs at that time. It was a lot of money for us.
Yeah.
We had to pay vendors. And 90% of our revenue was this, more than 90%. Like,
Wow.
it just crushed us.
How did you hold yourself, or what made you come back at that from
So
that?
what happened is that so basically it's like April and May. So 2 months I was trying to somehow turn it around. This happened in April, let's say. And I was trying to like save it, talk to somebody, if somebody can talk to someone, somehow I can get a meeting with that guy. He didn't give us a meeting, not a single meeting. Like Abhyuday used to wait outside his office and he'll not meet him.
Wow.
Not a single time, right? What people, like what insane people, like anyway. So, and there were 3,500 students who are affected. And they're like, NUJS is such a great university, they couldn't have done anything wrong, must be you. Luckily, the payment went to NUJS, so they didn't have a money trail. Like, students
it
paid
didn't come to
NUJS,
you.
right? So, it was like they couldn't file a case
Complaint
against
against you.
us. Otherwise, we didn't have money to return them, right? NUJS has to return. We helped the students to file the appropriate litigation, all of which eventually we won. We also sued the university. And, but we knew that it'll take whatever, 5, 6, 10 years, nobody knows how long. And basically, what is the situation? Like, you're challenging the decision of a retired Chief Justice of the High Court,
Wow.
Registrar of the High Court, and the Registrar of the University is the same person.
Wow.
And you're challenging them in Calcutta High Court. Their orders. Orders also signed by Supreme Court judges.
Wow.
Because one Supreme Court judge will always be on the EC, Executive Committee of NUJS. So even the previous course approvals were also signed by them. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So we started fighting those cases, and it took 6 years. We won everything. NUJS had to settle a lot of the money.
With you and with the students as well?
With the student also, some students have won cases and got their money back. Many they still haven't paid. They have to pay. It's up to them. There are arbitration orders which they haven't honored yet. We'll enforce them at the right time in the right forum. This is how it is going. But anyway, we won it up to the Supreme Court. Like, we had to fight all the way. Like every chance they got,
Your law
they
knowledge.
used law against
Your
us.
law knowledge came to full use.
It's not just the knowledge of law. You have to have the knowledge of the power structures and the systems. When to push the case, when not. When you sit quietly. Which lawyer to hire, in which forum. Like, it's just like, it's a full... NUJS has taught me more through this case than
Then the
I
money
could
you
never
lost.
learn in the class.
And the money you lost.
The money we lost, money we got, the money we already got back. Now we are fighting like literally for the interests and damages, which we have also been awarded in other stuff.
Other ways.
So they'll have to pay everything and we'll get everything. But, we decide the right time, the right place and the right strategy. So there's nothing they can do to stop it at this point. Like, everything is so much in our favor at this point. Every time we'll go to court or on every forum, people will only be shocked and will be like,
What
how
are they
can you
talking?
do this as a law university? How can you even do this? I mean, that's the position they have put themselves in. Like, anyway. So
I think out of just a stupid egoistic decision of one person.
but it's not one person. Then another VC came.
Achha,
who
they continued
that.
They
Yeah. So it's crazy stuff, right? Anyway, so doesn't matter. People are also, they don't want to take any risk and take a decision. Rather let it come from the court. Anyway, it's not their money, right?
Yeah.
Even if they have to pay the interest or whatever, it is the institution paying. It doesn't go from their pocket. But if they pay early without the court order, and settle, let's say. And then somebody can say that, oh, you have done this corruption.
So was this the...
So this put us in a position that in the month of, there was a month in like 2018 May, it was like we are finished. I had given up, and we had like 50 people working with us. I told them that, look, I'll not be able to pay your May salary. Your April salary you are able to pay. I have enough money in the account to pay 40% of your salary for May.
Okay.
Today is, let's say, 8th or 10th of May. Go find another job. Don't waste your time.
So you said that.
Right? I'm paying it, whatever is in the account, I'm paying it out right now. Whatever is, your full May salary, I will pay 60% on my responsibility. Whenever I am able to earn, I'll pay you. Or whatever I'll figure out someday. Don't count on it, but that's on my honor, I'll pay you. For the timing, the best thing you can do is go find another job. So everybody left. Then I got a call from, I was in Goa. 13 people got on a WhatsApp call and called me. And said that we have to try once more. Like, those LawSikho courses, we have to try once more. We had a product market fit. It was doing good. Without university, we'll try to sell. And we're not sure it'll work. But they're like, ek mahina to try karte hai. Anyway, the month of May is there. Like,
these are all the people who left, 13 of them.
They didn't leave. They said, I said, salary nahi hoga to, nahi there to nahi hoga. On us. We are trying. Let's try one more time. You don't give up. Let's try one more time. And I said, okay, if you are saying. So I went back to my vendors and I told them that, look, okay, this happened, like already this was happening. I was speaking to the vendors ki, boss, I don't know how will I pay you money. This has happened. They're like, we know this has been happening. This is pretty public. It was on the legal media and all of that. On social media. So they're like, why don't you continue the business? Take 6 months more credit.
Wow.
And I'm like...
They all believed in you.
No, so I asked, like, why? Like a printer. I asked the guy, why are you giving me more credit? I'm not already... He's like, you are my only client who has never delayed a single payment. Take 6 months more credit. I know you'll come out of this. Then I used to run ads on a platform. So I told him, ki bhai aisa hua hai. He's like, 6 months more credit. If you can't pay, I will talk after October. Then we'll talk.
Wow.
I had a coach. I told her, I can't pay you anymore. He's like, it's a month of, like, this happened in month of July. He's like, I can't pay you anymore. I'm saving costs. He's like, do you think my coaching is worth it, or what is the issue? I'm like, look, I think
I don't have the money.
But it makes no sense. Like, I am not taking a salary myself right now to put this cost on the company that I'll pay for your coaching. Like, we'll talk after October. Then you can pay me back. Like, you have to take the responsibility that you'll pay me back.
You were giving up, the Almighty didn't want you to. And then?
So this was May 2018. And we decided we have to make 5 lakh rupees somehow. If we make 5 lakh rupees, we can pay like 50% of our costs and the full rent. Because rent though we had to pay. So, okay, we'll do it. So 5 lakh rupees we have to make. So I launched 2 courses. And all the things, like somehow, like, all the things that NU just wouldn't let us do it. Ki hum chahte hai aise karna. Like, nahi, you are selling
now
out.
You are free.
Like, yeah, let's screw all that. We'll do everything the way we want. And everything changed, right? And so I said, this is what the course now will look like. No certification. It's only learning. And this is the result what you can expect from this. This is what the goal, objective of the course is this. Okay, 1 year course. Again, with 25,000 rupees. Jisko karna hai, theek hai, kar lo, aa jao. And you have to appreciate, this is a situation where the whole, there's like a social media storm going on against us. Ki this PI cheating करा है हमारे, fraud है, हमारे certificate नहीं दिया है, NUJS क्या ये हमारे डुबा दिया. And I'm like, So it's like this. I was the only person on the call selling, right? So I'll call people in between. Like I'll finish the call, I'll get another call, and I don't know if this is a buyer calling me or one of those people calling me to
you.
abuse me. But either way, I spoke to everyone. I dealt with it, whatever it has to be done. 30th of the month, we have done 3.5 lakh. So I am in like great deal of distress कि यार 5 लाख भी नहीं हुआ, but पास भी जा भी रहा है, अब करे क्या? Like, do I really want to shut this down? तो मैंने बोला नहीं होगा 5 लाख तो बंद ही कर देंगे. लास्ट डे का एक मैसेज जाता था कि हम लोग हमारा प्रैक्टिस था कि द लास्ट डे टू एनरोल, बैच इज क्लोजिंग. भेजा वो मेल, एक दिन में 5 लाख का आ गया. मैं उस दिन बॉम्बे में था एंड आई लाइक ये क्या
ये कैसे हो गया?
ये मतलब जो सेल्स होता था इंस्टा मुझे से सेल्स होता था, तो ये सेल इंस्टा मुझे से मेल आता था टंग टंग टंग, मतलब आई जा रहा है आई जा रहा है आई जा रहा है. एंड दैट इज द डे आई रियलाइज्ड
8.5 लाख.
हाँ, that so I was in Bombay with my friend. She like, he said this is real product market fit. The whole world may be against you,
but it is still
but your
selling.
customers wants what they know, what they want, they're buying. They don't care.
Wow. That's where everything went up.
Yes. So then it was like, okay, it's business as usual, scale it. It won't matter. NUJS doesn't matter. It is. Then we realized that it is our course that was selling, not NUJS's name. And NUJS has, by the way, many times tried to sell online courses, this and that. Other universities have tried. National Law University, National Law School, Bangalore has tried. Nalsar has tried. All of they have a minuscule online courses revenue. Nothing to write home.
Do you think this has got something to do with karma?
My perception is that you have some purpose in the world. Some people discover it. Some people are able to follow it. Some people don't follow it. They get lost. But this is my destiny.
That's why it had to happen.
Yeah.
Like nobody.
And it is not my destiny. It is like, this is my job.
This is your job. This is what you're here for.
Yeah.
There's nothing else you can do. I can end the podcast here. If you want. But I'm pretty moved as well. But there are certain things which will be, I would say, very, very important for a lot of people, whether they're entrepreneurs or they're just building a career that they're building. Ramanuj, I've heard that you had health issues as well.
Right.
It was during the same time?
Yeah. So, 2015, 16, it started. 2018. Yeah, so it started before that.
How did you deal with that?
I mean, there are different, like one is medical side of it. So on the medical side also, I had to develop my views over time. So the first reaction is obviously you go to doctor. And doctor do what they do. And then you realize that this is not working for you. And then you have to figure out alternative ways. So for me, it was avascular necrosis. So the biggest problem is that doctors, I mean, the diagnosis I've got now. In 2015, I had a surgery already on the hip joint. But why did the avascular necrosis happen? Doctor, we don't know. We can't
Just
figure
happened.
it out. Just happened, right? So now I know why it happened. And now we know the solution. But back then we didn't. So the surgery happened. Then for a year I couldn't walk. When I could walk with a stick. I couldn't do any, I mean, I could forget workout, even like 100 meter, 200 meter, walking was difficult and very painful. There was a time I thought that I'll never jump, never run, never climb stairs without excruciating pain. But, I mean, yeah, so that changed over time. One is that I kept trying. So slowly I trained myself through physical, small, minimal workout, condition to fix it. I moved to Goa. And moving to Goa somehow really helped because I think the
Helped.
air is not polluted. There's more oxygen in there. I'm not sure what it is, but that had helped. Then 2018, I came back and same doctor saw it again and said, look, the condition is relapsing. Like it's going back to where it was. Until you can walk, it's okay. Go on. So I'm like, how long do you think I'll be able to go on without the surgery? Like 2 years. After that, I mean, I'll give you max 2 years, given the condition that it is. After that, you will have too much pain and then we'll replace it. I said, okay. So I'll do my best to... So if that is the case, I'll do my best to extend it. So my thing was that I will, do meditation and like... I had this clue that if I can increase oxygen in my blood, because in Goa that had helped. And I had to move back to Delhi. So like I'll do everything I can to stay away from pollution and increase oxygen in my own body system, right? So that I started doing like basic things like breathing exercises, working out, whatever I could do. And then, physiotherapy and conditioning the muscles around it and stuff like that so that it gets stronger. But it wasn't working great. Then I met Lily. So Lily is we are going to get married. We have been in a relationship for many years. So one of the things she said is that you have really high inflammation in your blood works. Like I see the report, it's very clear that you have extremely high inflammation. And your red blood corpuscles are bigger in size. Has none of your doctors ever said this? I'm like, no. And it's not like those doctors. Some of the doctors are like my friends. I have invested in their company. Like they are not people who are like out to get me. They're like they love me. They're not taking money from me. They're like they'll do everything they can do for me. They never said this. I'm like, no. She said that obviously if your red blood corpuscles are too large in size, it is not delivering as much oxygen in your body. So one thing is we can fix that. So let's find out why you have an inflammation and let's cut it. So doctors don't take that approach. But she is a scientist. So she is not a doctor, right? So she's like, anyway, if doctors are not going to help you. So
how did you work around it?
So first, the obvious thing is that you change. So I went on an anti-inflammatory diet.
Okay.
There's a AIP diet, which is like anti-inflammatory paleo diet. So you remove everything. Like you remove like eggs, nightshade vegetables, milk products, everything that can cause inflammation at all. Remove everything and then see what happens. Inflammation markers didn't change. They went down very slightly. So, okay, this is not the real reason for inflammation. What else can it be? Is it fungus? Is it something else? So, I mean, not so much medicines, but I like kept taking different things. Finally, she said one day that I have eliminated everything. It can only be parasites now. And then I took anti-parasite treatment. And every time I'll take anti-parasite treatment, immediately my hip joint will stop paining at all. Wow. My mobility will improve. I was already playing badminton. Suddenly my
stamina
footwork and everything will improve. Stamina will go. And like suddenly the joint generally will function much better. So like, okay, how do we know? We're not able to figure out exactly. There's no clear... In India, there are hardly any tests to find out what parasites you have. You can't figure it out. So I would regularly take anti-parasite treatment and stuff like that. Recently, I went to Kazakhstan and we figured out that hip joint actually had an amoeba infection.
Wow.
And there are case studies like this around the world. It's just that it's very rare. And also it may not be very rare also. Nobody's checking anyway. The people who are having avascular necrosis, AVN in India, nobody's checking why it happens. They're like, we don't know. We have a thesis. Doctors will tell you that if you smoke too much or drink a lot of alcohol or take too much steroids, this can happen to you. But why else? Nobody goes into all that details. So yeah, so
now you have a solution.
So my inflammation went down after the parasite treatment massively, but it can go. You cannot kill parasites fully.
It'll just reduce.
and then you have to take it again, and they'll. So the same parasites infested dinosaurs also, and they're infesting us. They are much more evolved
Then
animals than we are.
now I just
So there
got.
are such things that we learned over.
But how mentally? My question is mentally, how do you deal with all this?
So mentally, how do I deal with all of this? So I don't know. So one part of it is that I always throw myself into work. That keeps me going. That's
Okay.
a source of strength. Mental health is like another whole different topic. Like
No, I'm not talking about mental health. See, whenever something comes up, whether it is the NUS thing happened, whether not having money, whether your health condition, every person has certain values in them, certain aspects they have that they use to overcome them or fight them or deal with the situation. What are yours?
So every obstacle is an opportunity to grow. This is a fundamental belief I have. I always had this.
Okay.
So even when NUJS was happening, what it did is that we got free from that cage, burden and all of that. And after that, it unleashed massive growth in the next few years, right? Okay, we lost 2 years, but I mean, if nothing happened in NUJS, we wouldn't have a turnover of 100 crore, let's say.
Yeah.
Never possible. Like, just think about it. A university which has even now probably 10, 12, 15 crore turnover cannot let you have a 100 crore or 150 crore turnover.
No ways.
No ways. Like, it just doesn't work. That is what happened. No? When you are small, they're like, nice kids, let them do it. When it becomes 15%, 30% of the university's revenue, you'll be like, what the hell is going on? So
I have a counter question on this. You're saying you see every obstacle as an opportunity to grow. So when the opportunity is it so that you're saying this because every time you stuck there when an obstacle came, you've grown?
You've grown,
So-
like, including the avian, right?
No,
Everything.
So my question is it that you're saying in the retrospect, or was that your
It
thought
was
process
there from the beginning.
when it was there also?
There
Okay.
from the beginning. So if that somehow I got that. Like, it's one of the operating principles that whatever bad is happening to you, it's because it's an opportunity to grow. You need a lesson. You need to do something. You are getting a bigger opportunity.
So that's the mindset. It's interesting when we were talking before camera, you're telling me that one of your sales director is now hiring people who have gone through tough times or who have risen through the ranks or something like that, you're saying?
So basically, we say that there are two kinds of people. There are straight stories. वो पहले से ही अच्छा कर रहा है, सब
पहले से अच्छा कर रहा है और बढ़िया
चल रहा है, सब ठीक है, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, मतलब there's no ups and downs. Then there are people who who have seen really bad times in their life and like bounced back.
Yeah.
We want to hire the bounce back people.
Okay.
Even if the bounce back guy is again down, we'll rather bet on him rather than a straight line
Reason?
guy. So for the director you're talking about, his own story is this, that he comes from a business family. His father built one of the most thriving legal publication companies. After he passed away, he got the responsibility of running that business. It didn't work out. Right? He fought and did some things, good things, bad things, but didn't work out eventually. Bet on some wrong things. And when he came to me, he was like, मुझे बस job दे दो, मेरे से business नहीं होगा. And we hired him. And initially things didn't work out. But then it did really well. And now, I mean, he left our business and he came back. But that's the thing, like, he bounced back. And saw really tough times that did not crush him, rather he became stronger. Now that is him. Now it's everywhere. It's my story is also like that.
Yeah.
Abhyuday's story is also like that. Right? So you can say that, okay, Abhyuday comes from a privileged family. His father was
But still he bounced
successful law firm partner, was, all of that. But if you look at his story and look deeper into it, he has gone through his traumatic experiences and he bounced back. He fought back and he won. And he again fights. He's a fighter. Everybody around me are like that, without exceptions.
So you keep hiring these kind of people now?
Initially, not in a planned manner. initially it was like, "यार, ठीक है." मतलब, we hired everybody and these people became successful, stuck around, did all of that. And I'm still not against hiring straight arrow people, but yeah, like we have a principle. We say that hire the micros. So if you have watched Suits,
I've
thing,
seen.
so it's like this guy end up hiring a guy who didn't have a law degree,
Achha,
but is brilliant.
Mike Ross.
Right?
Okay.
So
he didn't have a
he didn't
Harvard
have a
degree.
degree.
He didn't have a degree only.
At all. Like
He used to sit for all the people's tests and everything, but he didn't have a degree.
Didn't have a degree. So we're like, we don't care if anybody has a degree. So we're not saying ki hire a fraud, but like, we don't care if the guy has a degree or not. The
But if
guy
he can
who is
fight.
in a tough corner, the guy who is a fighter, hire that guy. It's written down in our, we hire micros.
Yeah.
And that's how we explain.
Very good. One of the last questions. You just mentioned that you had a coach who you said, I can't pay you and everything. So you've ongoingly had coaches and mentors and you still have?
Yeah, so this is a coach who has been there from, so when there was a time when I said, I want to create a 10 lakh revenue outside of NUJ's business per month. So that if something happens in NUJ's, it would be like, we'll not get screwed totally. Something will be there. And I hired her at, I think, January of 2018. Okay? And she's still my coach.
Very good.
She's still there.
And you always believe that, see, you have an IPO now. Most people will say कि यहाँ पहुँच गए, इतने sales हो गए, इतना सब कुछ हो गया, 700 people, 10 different countries. Now, why do you need a coach?
See, a coach is not somebody who is telling you what to do. My coach is not a mentor. He's not telling me what to do. She helps me to think things through. What is my priority now? What is the angle that I'm not thinking of? My biggest job with my coach every week, I have only one call usually. Sometimes I miss that call also. But the main job when we have the call is to figure out what's the priority now. What is the priority for this week? What is my long-term goal? And is my current priority aligned with that? What is my calendar looking like? Am I spending time on the right things or on the wrong things? This kind of conversation. So it is, if you think of it, I should be able to do it alone. But a coach holds the space and is able to make you go to those questions that otherwise you should be dealing with. And you know the questions, but you don't deal with them.
And I think a coach may be able to have you see many different aspects of the same situation.
And if the coach has worked with you for very long, there
are
reference points that you forget. So maybe you are dealing with a problem today and you're like, I have never dealt with something like this. And your coach will be like, Acha, let me open this document from May 2021 and let me show you. And I'm like, oh my God. So even this week, I had this in my call. So I didn't want to deal with this question, but my coach was like, I want to know, how is your time spent today different than a 1 year back?
Yeah.
Right? Let's look at, has your challenges changed?
Or they are still the same?
Are the same? The way you used to spend time before the IPO now that you are 7-9 months, whatever, down the IPO, is it the same? Is there a change? And we looked at it and we saw certain changes and certain things doesn't. Now that clarity
is very
a coach
important.
Brings to the table. A year back, I had told her that I must work on our culture more, and it's going to be important. But I started working on some things, but I never got there. For the last 1 year, every month my coach will remind me at least once, do you think you have time to work on culture this month? And finally I'm working on it. So that, I think the coach holds the space, holds the threads, brings you back to what is important. Also helps you to set the right goals.
Okay.
So those things, and imagine you just had a partner with whom you could have that conversation and ongoing. Can you imagine 6 year, 7 year ongoing conversation?
Wow.
From the time when we had a goal of doing 10 lakh revenue per month and we were struggling, to a situation where you are setting a target doing 15 crore per month.
Yeah.
Now, that's a goal now, right? So, I mean, That's the journey that you walked with somebody. Like it's
Yeah.
extremely valuable.
Are you spiritual?
Am I spiritual? So I grew up an atheist. Now I am a theist. I believe in God and I pray to God. But I am not religious. Spiritual, I meditate. I meditate every day. But I mean, I'm not sure like how to answer this question. But like
What made you starting to believe in God?
it's like after I met I met Lily. I'm in a relationship with her, and I think it happened after that.
Yeah.
She is a very spiritual and spiritually powerful person,
Okay.
and in her contact, I started seeing a change in myself.
Yeah. And you start believing in God.
Believing this.
Got it. Now, what is next for you?
So
Like do you anytime think of, okay, now I have an IPO, I can sell off my shares or whatever, and
no,
I
I
can
don't
go
think like
chill.
that. So this is the thing. So how do I define myself? Am I a business person? I'm not a business person.
That I know.
So
A business person will not come for a podcast and spend, it is what, 4 hours for a shoot.
So I am in business, and it's a means to an end. It's like a way to contribute,
Yeah.
and it helped me to gain more freedom.
Yeah.
It helped me to, it's also a medium to evolve myself. So I've evolved a lot. I can't. So people want to go on adventure, right? So like in previous generations, people would go to the North Pole or South Pole
South
or
Pole.
like climb Everest.
I know.
All of that is. I mean, it's all. There's no adventure left in any of that. You can go see new places. That's okay, but there's no true adventure. No exploration, right? So I believe that all the true adventures are in the domains of business. Like what you can do. Like imagine you. I think it's a great intellectual exercise that you imagine something that this is how the world can be better. And you put your blood and sweat into it and you build a team and you mobilize and you make it happen. And it's real now.
Yeah.
You imagine that this is possible in the world. And it does not matter how many people say, no, this is nonsense. This is not possible. It does not matter. You can make it happen. And that is like a great adventure. And you evolve in that process.
I think if you're someone who's lucky enough, or maybe the chosen one, as they say, to having been met your purpose in life, then I think that's the greatest adventure and the greatest gift. And I think that's what has happened to you. And you.
So I don't think I have found my purpose as such.
Or
maybe I have found, but I feel I'm not able to work on it yet. The right time and path will appear.
But you're on track.
I'm on track. These are intermediate steps in life. Like you have to go through these stages. And so I don't see myself in the context of, okay, I'm a business person. I have to just grow my business. This is a part of my duty and my work. And I will do that part well. And beyond that, there's much more to be done. So you have been one of my earliest coaches. Right? So in fact, I remember there was a time when I used to think कि भाई एक ही बिजनेस तो चलाने में इतना प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है, बाकी बिजनेस में कैसे करूँगा? But I wanted to start. And I came to you and I said कि मुझे और चीज़ें करना है, but ये तो possible नहीं हो रहा है. So you had told me something. You just किसने बोला कि possible नहीं? Start कर दो, देखते हैं. Although वो जब जो स्टार्ट करा था सब उस समय बंद हो गया था, बट नहीं चला पाया था. मतलब सक्सेस भी हो रहा था, बट जस्ट कुडंट हैंडल द स्ट्रेस एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट बिकॉज आई डिडंट नो हाउ टू, like didn't had the strength to do it. I had to have all the illnesses and ups and downs in life before I could
this point.
to come to the point that I can run those businesses. But tell me something, like how have you seen me evolve from that time till now?
See, my first interaction with you that I remember is the first interaction was the seminar series I was leading where you were a participant, and in one of the sessions I don't remember the session, but 3-4 session हो गए थे. You just stood up in the middle of the aisle and you said, I don't understand whatever you're saying. I'm doing one business right now. I want to do multiple businesses. If you can help me with that, then it is worth my time. Otherwise, it is not. And we kind of had an altercation and you left the session. And after that, I got to know from a group of people in the seminar that you're not coming back to this thing. And when I heard from them that you're not coming back, I just told them, I smiled and I told him, I said, he will come back. Because at that time, I just saw something, I don't remember your age. You were in your 20s.
Yeah.
And, to have that kind of hunger and that kind of vision, and you are very clear about it कि मुझे करना ही है, is rare. And to be frustrated not to find a way is natural. So I could see that ये आदमी कुछ करेगा. And in fact, I think the way you're reminding me कि I just told you कि हाँ तू कर. Later on, when I didn't want to coach you, you still came to me. And you said, मुझे नहीं पता. You coach me for a few months and hold my hand till a certain point. I think maybe your childhood had a lot to play with it. You have evolved. I would say right now who you are is a result of your, you said ना मैं अपने आप को उसमें डुबो देता हूँ काम में, and result of not giving up and getting into details of things. You're someone who's detail oriented and you're a result of that. You've not been satisfied and said, हाँ ये best class है ऐसे बन सकता है. You've gone to the next point. And your purpose in life from day one has been very clear that there is a huge level of contribution there. It's not that you don't care about money, but money also you need, because I've never seen you spending like crazy. You still have a very ordinary office that, according to me, an IPO company should have a better office. But your purpose has been of contribution. जिसका पर्पस बड़ा क्लियर होता है ना रामानुज, उसको रास्ता मिलता जाता है, उसको कोचेस भी मिलते जाते हैं, उसको पार्टनर्स भी वैसे मिलते जाते हैं. एंड आई थिंक यूर स्टिल वर्क इन प्रोग्रेस. चलता रहेगा ये. दिस विल गो ऑन.
Of course.
Yeah. Anything else?
No, good.
So Ramanuj, thank you so much.
There's one more thing.
Huh.
I remember that this is a funny story, funny or whatever. So I remember I had a coaching session with you where you had told me about the distinction being an opening for love.
Huh.
And then I met somebody and got married. You want to say something about that?
No, first you complete the story.
Yeah, so that was a very
powerful distinction.
Actually, I'll tell you what happens. Okay, like there are these powerful ideas, right? And you meet them and you don't fully understand them. And you start implementing them in your life, and they take your life somewhere that it should not. Probably that was not the right thing at that time. Maybe I think everything is right. Whatever has happened, you learn from everything. So 2 questions. Do you want to tell that story from your perspective? That is one part of it. Second is that what about this? Like, a lot of people, I think we both went to Landmark. So, and even otherwise, like, you come across these powerful distinctions and ideas and they ruin your life. So what is your explanation for that? 2 questions.
2 questions. First one I'll answer. I remember very clearly being an opening for love, I told you. And you just went and you came back and you told me that I met this person. I said, very good, very good. I was very happy. And then you said, I'm getting married. I said, to whom? I said, to her. I said, what are you doing? I asked you to being open to love, but I never asked you to go get married. And you said, now I've given my word and it is next month. And somehow I happened to know the person and she's a great person. I told you, I said, you both aren't a match. I'm unsure whether this is going to work. In fact, I was very angry with you on this. And you kept telling me, no, मुझे करना ही है, I've given my word and all that. I said, think about it. And it didn't work out. Connected to this, when you're talking about distinction, people here and I would say, it's not that the distinctions people here don't work. It's that the people don't understand the distinctions fully and go and implement them. It is one thing that you hear a distinction and go blindly do it, and it is another thing to really get the distinction and then take the appropriate action according to that. That's my take on it. So, thank you, Ramanuj. When I invited you, I knew it's going to be a great session, but I wasn't sure that how it is going to go. But I just wanted one thing. I wanted this human behind this money-making or business-making machine to come out. And I think we've been successful.
Great.
And
Thank you.
I am very inspired by your purpose. I'm very, very happy with what you're doing. And I wish that you continue doing this. And I wish you take it to much greater heights and you prosper. And what's better than getting people livelihoods? So thank you for being here. We started a day forward with a purpose of truly inspiring people, getting common people stories who are extremely successful in their lives. So any message you want to give to the audience?
So, I have thought about this, and, there's this very good idea that your life should be a message. And I think what I want my life to be a lesson and a message is that you can start from anywhere. Like in our case, the story starts from my parents struggling to, put food on the table and pay electricity bill, and from there, today, I think, I see no barriers. Like, we can do business in anywhere in the world. And, it's just, there's full of possibilities. We have been doubling our business every year and we want to continue doing it. And truly, like, all the setbacks are just a preparation for like a better future. So I think that has been story of India starting from 1990, what it is today in 2024.
Yeah.
And what is possible ahead by, let's say, 2050. We have come a long way and there's so much more to do. And I think that's what I want to tell, because I see so much desperation, like, because I'm also dealing with, young people who are unemployed sometimes, employed people also. But there's just like a lot of desperation, a lot of negativity, a lot of messaging that it's not possible. It's all rigged against you. You cannot do it. It's only for a certain kind of people, certain kind of lucky people, either genetically lucky or, parents has money or whatever. Like this kind of messaging is there. And I call it cult of negativity. I say that in law, for example, I said there's a cult of negativity. There are 3 cults of negativity. And one cult is like, so anyway, let's not go into detail of that, but there's a huge cult of negativity. People who are convinced themselves that there's nothing they can do, and they are victims of the circumstances, and they enroll everybody else into that world that, look, we are. And if somebody wants to do something, they'll be like, no, how dare you? You're wrong. Join us. We are right. And in a lot of spaces, they're winning. Right? And it's like, even if you have one person who breaks that, it suddenly tells everyone, no, that is possible. You know what people from Howrah tell me? They're like, we can't believe, like, in that particular place where the only option to succeed in life was to be a teacher or an engineer, or you can build a business and do this, right? Or a politician. Like the most ambitious guy will become local councillor or something, right? And for that, it's like, that is what that story is very important, and that needs to spread, that you can do it, because if people believe that they can do it, how I really started talking to Kaushless, right? Kaushless said that I believe in capitalism. I read a lot of books. But how do I make money? How do I build a business? Is it possible? Like, yes, it is possible. And today he is having a business, is employing people. How many months, Kaushless? Like 5 months. 5 months, and I think his revenue is like
5
about
months.
a crore in a year or something like that. Not yet.
करोड़ छूने की सोच ले रहे हैं
करोड़ छूने की सोच रहा है जो भी है मतलब
Yeah.
from absolutely zero, right? And that's the promise of capitalism. And I want people to see it, believe it, and act on it, because that's how, imagine how prosperous India can be if everybody believes in that rather than being part of that cult of negativity.
Perfect. Thank you, Ramanuj. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mathematician ये हो, but कम से कम Infosys में engineer बन जाएगा. That is the bare minimum, right? तो
प्लान सही थे